Hey, Slater Crusaders. So yesterday we talked to a virologist, tried to get deep into the science of viruses and all that. And now I want to get a little more of the medicine of it all. Dr. Nicole Saphier is with us. She's a doctor in the New York City area, Fox News contributor, and has a new book out called Make America Healthy Again. Dr. Saphier, how are you today?
Hey, thanks for having me on.
I'm glad you're here. So let's talk a little bit about COVID first. One thing that I was surprised by, and I want to get your take, is, first of all, just in general, how little we still know about this thing 4 months later. But even when it comes to symptoms. So I read here that 70% of patients in one New York City hospital didn't have a fever, and 40% had shortness of breath, which means still a majority didn't even have shortness of breath. If you asked me what the symptoms were, I'd say fever and shortness of breath. But it seems like that's certainly not even universal. It may not even be true for half of people. But just in general, are you surprised how wide the symptoms are and all the different variables at play?
Well, I mean, there's a reason it was called the novel coronavirus, because it's brand new. We knew nothing about it when it first started. And then even the information that we were given about it before it came to our country seemed to have been incorrect. So we're still trying to play catch up. And, we still get new information every single day. You're absolutely right that, people are presenting in various different ways with different symptoms. You have to remember, though, 25 to 50% of people who have the virus probably don't have any symptoms at all, if they just have maybe even just like a sniffly nose or a small cough. So it's really hard to say. But those that are actually presenting to the hospital, that are needing to be hospitalized, still a good majority of them tend to have fevers, tend to be shortness of breath. But to be honest, at this point, it seems like you can present with anything and you still could potentially have COVID-19.
Yes. So what do you, just in general, what do you do as a doctor? What mindset do you have in a crisis like this when you see patients?
Well, when this was all starting a few months ago, I just said to everybody, let's just pretend everyone has the virus, including yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you just assume that you have the virus and everyone else around you has the virus, then you're probably going to make some smart decisions on how you can halt the spread of that illness. But I also wanted to continue to tell people that the far majority of people who do get infected with the virus will be completely fine. But something that has been an increasing concern of mine are the indirect consequences that is coming from all of these orders when it comes to trying to mitigate the spread of this illness.
Like, can you go into more detail?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, let's start out with the vulnerabilities that have been highlighted with COVID-19 in the United States. For several reasons, if you look at the data from New York as well as other places across the country, over 90% of people who are dying or have severe illness have at least one pre-existing illness. And when you have 60% of American adults with at least one existing illness, including heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, that's a lot of people. So not only has that rendered us vulnerable and weakened our immune system to fight off the virus, but that's also why we had to make these makeshift hospitals so quickly, because our hospital systems were already functioning at near capacity because we have such existing illness in our country, and unfortunately, a lot of that which may be preventable. But one thing that now is being highlighted even more is all of these stay-at-home orders are, being extended, and you're starting to see people get, cabin fever. We're seeing increased calls for domestic violence, suicide, depression, anxiety, you name it. All of a sudden, all of the existing mental health that has been in our country is starting to take light, and I am concerned. We already know that you have increased risk of suicide and overdose deaths when it comes to unemployment. But now, while we're all staying home, you potentially have victims with their abusers being forced to be together. So I really am imploring people to look at each individual community, and those that are able to start reopening, we need to do that.
Slater Crusaders, thanks for watching the first on YouTube. If you want more, like, subscribe. We got plenty.